welcome back to Rooted Truth. My name is Keisha. Today guys, I just want to come here and tell you a little bit about my spiritual awakening, like the first one. At this point, I have had multiple spiritual awakenings. So it's not easy being out here. I know it might seem like I'm alone and I'm just here talking, and it can be that, but it still comes with the pressure of, not wanting to expose yourself to the world. And then, it's like you have to expose yourself to the world in a sense. It's not a sense of you're being forced, but it's a sense of you didn't have the understanding before, and now that you have a little understanding, because becoming a spiritual person, it leads you to the point where you're like, I know nothing. Like, I think I'm dumb, I'm stupid, I know nothing, because all your life you've been living this life, that has been handed to you in a sense, right? Because why I say your life was handed to you, right? You were born, and whatever situation you had growing up, your parents were there, or grandparents or foster parents, or whatever your situation was, and it's like they train you and they teach you these things, and then you go to church and you learn, you go to school, you learn, you're in your community, you learn, you have a friend, you learn, you go into different cultures or community and you also learn. So all of the stuff that you have learned has nothing to do with the true nature of a human being. So living your life normally, going about your business, focus on your day-to-day job, your family, your children, and you think that is what your life is all about. And coming into a spiritual awakening, it's like now you have another understanding that you never had before, and you didn't even think it was possible because everybody told you it's not possible. All right, so I want to calm down because I kind of feel I'm a little nervous about this whole thing, and I just want to ask everyone to be patient with me, because it's not easy. Just say that. Let's just leave it there. Anyhow, so I was home one day, and first of all, back to the time that I came on YouTube before, because I thought I could be a motivator or whatever, and I was motivating myself in the process, and I thought, in the meantime, motivating myself, I could motivate others. And I was out here, I was looking into like manifestation, because I wanted to manifest my best life, right? The dream life, the rich life. That's what I thought I was doing at first. And I was following all these people on social media, and Bob Proctor was one of these people, and he had a Facebook seminar that I went on for 3 days, and he was teaching you how to, to motivate yourself and how to change, and just to live your best life. But after everything, I learned a little bit, but then it was like they were going to call you after to see if you were interested in taking one of their courses. And as I am so interested in changing my whole life and dynamics, and getting to the other side of being able to afford the stuff I need, I was very much interested. And they called me, and it was like $10,000 for this training, however long it was going to take for them to teach you all these skills. And I didn't have the money, so I looked up in the sky, as I always do, and I said, God, you have to find a way to give me the secret, whatever it is that they have that I need. Anyhow, fast forward to I'm living my day-to-day life. Little things happen here and there. Sometimes I remember at one point I was talking to God, I was praying, I was very nervous and stuff like that. And I was talking to him about something, and it's like he answered. He said, I already did it. And I was so surprised, but then I was asking him to remove all the fear-based nervousness that I was feeling. And when the voice said I already did it, the nervousness left, and I couldn't explain how, but it was little things like these that was happening in my life that I was telling my friends, like, oh, I was praying and I said this and this happened and da 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 da. But anyhow, so now I was on social media, and I saw this video came up, and this guy was saying, if you want to be enlightened or something like that, you should watch these 3 movies. And he was saying the movies, and I only remember one. So I kind of popped off it, went on YouTube and tried to look it up, and I found the movie. And I'm going to tell you the name of the movie. The movie was Lucy. And I tried to go back to find the guy's page to find out the other 2 movies, because I'm like, I need to watch these movies so I could, see what they're talking about. So when I went on YouTube, mark you, the movie is on Netflix for free, and I did not know this, because I guess now I understand that I wasn't supposed to watch it there. So I typed it in on YouTube, and I rented it for like $4 or something, and I was watching the movie. I watched the whole thing. I didn't get anything. Like, it was like, okay, it was like something about this drug that they took. This girl was carrying drugs for somebody, and the drugs was burst, and it was in her system, and it started opening up her brain in the way that I think they say we use how many percent, 3% of our brain. And it was like she was using so much percentage of her brain now that she was like, going in and out of different realities. It didn't spark anything in me. It was like, okay, I get it, but I really don't get it. So after the movie finished, a documentary came up, and when the documentary came up, I just started watching it. And I don't know why I watched it, because I normally don't like documentaries. So I was watching the documentary, and it was very, very interesting. And I don't remember the name of that documentary, but was so interested, and they were talking all these things that was resonating with me, because I was already on my spiritual journey. I was already questioning the Bible, questioning a lot of things, and it didn't make sense to me, some of these stories. And it was like, God, like, if you're my father, because they always say that God is a man, so we always like, refer to God as a man. And it was like, if you're my father, why would it not be okay for me to question you? It doesn't make sense. I was even talking to my friend about it, and I'm like, because you grow up as a kid and you hear, don't question God and don't get in God's business. But let me tell you, that's just a part of the slave society and how they want us to be stupid and dumb us down. So if you ask no question, you'll get no answer. So you will remain in the dark, okay? So I started asking all these questions, and I was just talking to God at all times, and like, if I can't question him, who am I going to question? And I was like, you're going to have to forgive me if I'm sinning, because they said it's a sin or something. And if it's a sin, I want you to forgive me, but I don't know any better at this point, but I have nobody else to ask but you. And I was just asking all these questions. If there was only 2 people in the garden, where did this one get a wife? And it was all questions. And let me tell you, I watched the documentary, and the documentary was about to finish. And at the ending of the documentary, they mentioned that we are all gods. And let me tell you something. When they said that, it hit something in me. It hit a nervous system that I cannot explain to nobody what it was, but it opened up something inside of me. I was weeping. Because it hit me. And after it hit me that we were all gods, we're not the God, but we're all gods. We're all an aspect of the Creator. And it was like, oh my God, what do you mean? And I was like so nervous, and I was running to my husband, and I was like, I was trying to explain it to him, but he couldn't get it, because it wasn't for him. It wasn't meant for him. And let me tell you something. Nobody in this world can tell you about God. God is something that you have to embody for yourself. You have to learn for yourself. You have to start to seek. You have to start to ask questions. You have to wonder, why was I told this? Is this my own belief, or is it somebody else's belief? And that's when let me tell you, a can of worm will open up on you. But let me tell you something, God is very gentle, and he will not give you everything at once. He's not just going to open up everything, because at this point, I think I'm going to stop counting the amount of realization and awakening that I have had at this point, and I don't want to come here and just say everything one day, because I'm a talker and I can talk because I am so passionate about spirituality. Because before, I know how dumb I was, and it's so easy for us to get lost in this system, especially we don't even know, where we're from, why we're here. We're just here living this regular life. And I realized that I was a part of that. And now that I have a little bit more awareness and I am able to navigate stuff a little bit more, I want to help whoever needs it. Like, I know awakening is not just for me. And let me finish, because I can start talking all kind of things and I don't want to get you confused. But as I'm saying, and they said that, and it was like the voice started communicating with me. And it was like, yes, Keisha, you're all God's. And I was like running in my house crying. Like, this voice, like, and it was like, oh my God, my first download. So it was like, yes. Let me tell you, it was like Jesus. It wasn't that Jesus was more special than you. It was that he had the understanding of who he was. He did the work on himself. And he cleared himself of all these trauma and generational curses and stuff like that. And he embodied the spirit of the divine. And that was what made him so supernatural. But that is something that we all can attain. We might not attain it in this lifetime, because let me tell you, we have lived thousands of lifetimes, some of us, and maybe I'm one of those persons who has lived her 1,000 lifetime and decide that she does not want to reincarnate anymore. But it's like, I'm at that place where you're getting communication from a higher dimension. And when you start to communicate with this higher dimension, and you have all these realization, it makes your life, it doesn't mean that you no longer sin, or you no longer want things from the material world, or you no longer feel pain or can cry or stuff like that. It's not like that. And it's not something that you will get in one day. It's like a lifetime. It's like a journey that you're on, and every time more and more layers keep open up, and more doors keep open up, and more understanding keep coming in. And it's like, okay, so this is how I navigate my life. We're striving, we're all looking for something, and some of us don't know what it is. Some of us think it's riches, some of us think it's a husband or a wife or a child or a big house, a car, pretty clothes. We think it's a lot of things, but as you go in your journey, you're going to realize that even when you attain these things, you still feel empty. You still feel this sense of anxiety in your body, and you just can't get to see, why can't I just be happy all the time? And let me tell you, there's no such thing as happy all the time. I think there's a point where you are so enlightened that the worldly things doesn't break you anymore, but you have the strength of God, and when you embody that energy, it makes it easier to navigate through this life. But yeah, it was crazy. But let me tell you, you have to start asking questions. And when I said asking questions, it doesn't mean that you go to your aunt or your grandmother and you ask them questions, because trust me, they have no clue. We have been dying for centuries upon centuries and not knowing what death is, and not knowing, why, and when you get to a part of your journey and you start going through the dark night of the soul, because that's also a part of it, where you start to question everything, like, if I'm only a mother, and what if I wasn't a mother? What if my children don't love me? What if they don't show up? Or, what if I don't have no parents, no love, no husband, wife, or whatever? Is this all my life is gonna be about? Is this just, I just come here and I'm born into the worst family maybe in my community, or I'm born to the richest family in the community, and I just live my life and I die when I'm 70 or 80 because somebody told me that I have to go to school when I'm 3, and I have to leave when I'm 18, and I have to get married, and I have to buy a house, and all these things that society put on you, and then you have these things carrying around, and you're like, I'm still not happy. And then you're on your deathbed and you're looking around like, what did I do with my life? How did I spend my days? And it's a burden. It's crazy. And we have to start being mindful of all these things, and start living our life and living our truth. And I'm not going to tell you that it's easy, because after getting all that love and that unconditional love, and feeling that, knowing all this time that I thought I was alone, I always had this help, and I could always call on my spirit guides or my angels for help. And I didn't know that. Even just like losing my misplacing my phone, I could now say like, spirit, where's my phone? And I'll just get it into like, just go look behind the curtain or something. So it's just stuff like that you start to embody all this understanding that you never had before. But I'm here and I'm learning, because and some things I'm not ready yet to come and talk because I'm not yet comfortable being here. But as it goes on, and as I learn, and as I start telling you about the gifts that God gave us, because God gave us a lot of gifts that we didn't even know that we had, like we have. So it's just going more and more in this journey. I am going to be here, and I'm going to be telling you, and I'm going to be explaining to you, because it's not just about that love, because you get that feeling of that love, and it's gone within 3 days. Some people said it leaves them within 2 weeks or a month or a day. Mine was like 3 days. I had this bliss, this overwhelming love and joy, and like nobody, that is a time when Jesus said, if they slap you on one side, you turn the other side and they could slap you. That's the mood you're in at that point. But when you get out of that, because you have to change all these things. We have all these things in our body that are called chakras, and all these chakras are blocked by the energies that we grew up whether you were in whatever situation you were brought up in, even before you were born, you already started getting all these things that they call trauma. So with all these trauma in our body, and everything, every understanding that we don't have, and every misbelief and judgment and anger, selfishness, hate, greed, everything is lodged within our body, and there is no way to change this on your own. You have to go to the divine. You have to ask for these things. You have to tell them. You have to be sincere. It's a journey, and it's not easy, but it's the only way. When you get this, it's like you need nothing else. It doesn't matter if you're rich. It doesn't matter if you're poor. It doesn't matter if you're sick, because you already know that you're okay. You're fine. Like, but yeah, so I'm just, trying to explain to you guys what, a spiritual awakening kind of feels like. And I can't explain to you about God, and that is what we all have to understand, that I can come here and I can tell you my experience, but you have to embody this for yourself. You have to feel it. You have to have the experience. And until you have that experience, it would only be something like chatter in the ears. You understand? So you have to start to make those initiation and start to ask these odd questions, all the things that they tell you. God is not a vile God. God is not vile. And I don't know, there's so much things in the Bible that is a misconception, and our natural mind cannot wrap around what the Bible is. The Bible is not set in stone. It was written by men, and I'm not here to to negotiate if the Bible is wrong or right, because I still can use things from the Bible. I've never been a Bible reader, but the things that I speak about now, people tell me, oh, that is in the Bible and that is in the Bible. And I'm like, okay, so it's in the Bible. I've never read it, but okay, it's truth then. It's a part of truth, but there's a lot of other things that's in there that was meant to keep you blinded, and you have to know this. And until you understand this and get out of that mind frame of, oh, everything in the Bible is true and God said this, there's no guarantee. You cannot trust men. And if you want to know who is King James, I think you should go back and research and find out who is King James. Who is this man? The Bible is not the first book that this man has produced or whatever. His first book was called Demonology or something, and it's all kind of spells and stuff like that. So, and we know that we use the Bible for spells also. So just try to get your information from God and not from another man that for thousands or millions of years it's been washed up and reused, and they use it in slavery to keep us down also. And you have to know that the Bible was used in slavery because the slaves used to kill their master and run away, and they wanted to get them under control, so they promised them this glorious heavenly thing. And you have to get it. You have to get it. You have to know that you can use it, but there are things in there that you haven't even heard about yet because your pastor will not preach these in church. So you have to start to dissect and see what is true for you in there and what you can use and what you have to put to the side. And with that, thank you for watching. And with that, I just want to say bye, because listen, if you're someone that cannot handle the truth, this might not be the place for you. I'm telling you, because the only thing that will come from my mouth is truth. And that's it. And I am not afraid to speak my truth. And if you don't like my truth, you can go find your truth. And that's just what it is. Thanks for watching. I'm Keisha. Have a wonderful day.